Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're going to unwrap the story behind, well, the holiday song of our time. And the craziest part? It took a full 25 years to actually get to number one. How does that even happen?
All right, let's get right into it. How did this one song manage to completely conquer Christmas? We're talking about a track that defied all the rules, the industry norms, you name it, and somehow became this unstoppable force of nature every single holiday season.
You know the one I'm talking about. It's Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You. It's so iconic, it feels like it's been around forever, right? But the journey it took to get there? Wow. It's this incredible story of a huge risk, some serious songwriting genius, and, yeah, a little bit of luck, too.
So, to really understand this, we've got to rewind the clock. Let's go back to 1994. Mariah Carey she's at the absolute top of her game, a global superstar. And her team decides to do something that, at the time, was seen as a huge professional risk.
And think about this. She had just released her monster hit album, Music Box, in 1993. Back in the 90s, the thinking was that Christmas albums were, well, they were for artists whose careers were kind of fading out, not for someone at their absolute peak. So for a superstar like Mariah, this was a seriously risky move. And get this, even her own co-writer, Walter Afanasieff, was pretty nervous about it. He basically said, nobody who's a big star right now is doing new big Christmas songs. It just wasn't a thing. They were completely flying blind in totally uncharted territory.
But, despite all those risks, they went for it. And they had this one very clear goal in mind. They wanted to make a song that sounded timeless, something that felt like an old classic from the very first listen.
Yeah, they weren't trying to make a 90s pop hit at all. Nope. The whole idea was to tap into that old school vibe, like those classic rock and roll Christmas songs from the 60s. They wanted to capture that specific magic, that feeling that just never gets old.
Okay, so let's break down the anatomy of this thing. What's the secret sauce? Well, they layered all these amazing sounds together. You've got that big 60s wall of sound style from Phil Spector, these really rich Beach Boys-esque harmonies, and of course, you can't forget those jangly sleigh bells. But here's the really cool part. Hiding under all that simple joy is a super complex song. We're talking at least 13 different chords, which is what gives it that catchy, unforgettable melody.
And guess what? It totally worked. Right away, critics got it. They immediately heard it and were like, yep, that's it. That's an instant classic. They knew it belonged right up there with all the other holiday standards.
But here's where the story gets really interesting. Even with all that praise, and even though people loved it, the song had a long climb to get to the top of the charts.
So, what was the holdup? Well, it was this old kind of weird chart rule. See, back in '94, for a song to even get on the main Billboard Hot 100 chart, it had to be released as a physical commercial single. But All I Want for Christmas Is You was just a track on the album. So, it was literally ineligible. Didn't matter how many times it was played on the radio, it just couldn't chart.
And then, technology changed everything. Digital music, and then the big one, streaming, completely flipped the script on how we listen to music. And Billboard, well, they had to keep up. So they got rid of that old physical single rule. And then, in 2012, they made another key change. They decided to let older songs re-enter the chart. And just like that, the floodgates were open.
What happened next was this unbelievable slow burn. Just think about this timeline. Ineligible in 1994. Then, with digital music, it becomes a hit online around 2005. It takes until 2017 to finally crack the top 10. And then, in 2019, a full 25 years after it came out, it finally hits number one. Just wow.
And hey, this wasn't just happening in the US. Over in the UK, it had a similar story. It famously got stuck at number 2 back in 1994. It took 26 years, until 2020, for it to finally grab that coveted Christmas number 1 spot. Incredible patience.
So with those old rules out of the way, the path was clear. And this song didn't just climb the charts. Oh no, it completely shattered records and basically crowned Mariah Carey the undisputed queen of Christmas.
All right, let's talk numbers. Starting with the money, we're looking at over $100 million. That's the estimated royalty earnings from this one song as of 2023. That is just a staggering amount of money for a single track.
Okay, how about this one?
16 times platinum in the US. To put that into perspective for you, it was the very first holiday song ever to go diamond. That's 10 times platinum. No other holiday song had ever done that.
In chart dominance? Oh yeah. 68. That's the record-breaking number of weeks it has sat at #1 on Billboard's Holiday 100 chart. Since that chart was created back in 2011, this song has basically owned it.
The list of records it broke is just mind-blowing. It holds the record for the slowest climb to #1, obviously. It made Mariah the first artist in history to have a #1 hit in 4 separate decades: the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, and the 2020s. And believe it or not, it's now her longest-running #1 song ever in the US.
But this might be the biggest honor of them all. In 2023, the song was selected for preservation in the National Recording Registry by the Library of Congress. I mean, that's it. That's official. It's now preserved for all time as a piece of American culture.
So why does all this matter? Well, this is way more than just a story about a catchy song. It's a perfect example of how technology, shifting industry rules, and just plain old nostalgia can come together and completely change our definition of what makes a classic. So what's the big takeaway here? It's really about this perfect storm, right? You've got this huge, risky project that paid off big time. You've got songwriting that was genius, made to sound timeless from day one. And then you have technology coming along and giving it this whole second life, a bigger life that absolutely nobody saw coming.
Which kind of leaves us with one last thought to chew on. In today's world, with streaming and endless playlists tailored just for you, is it even possible for a new song to become a true Christmas classic like this one did? To cut through all that noise and become a tradition for everyone? I guess only time will tell.